Hello, and welcome to The Productive Writer. I'm your host, Sean McLaughlin, and this is episode 2, The Secrets to Being a Successful Writer. Yeah, that's kind of a clickbaity headline, but there's a reason why I use that. This is the second episode of a brand new series here on YouTube giving practical advice for how to be a working writer and up your word count and up your chances of getting accepted by publishers and magazines and all that. We have a lot of ground to cover, but this one we're going to talk about the one thing that you need to make it as a writer. Now, if you are on the writing boards or looking at books and podcasts and that sort of thing, you'll see that claim made a lot. And a lot of the time, it is some big formula on how you're supposed to write a novel, or it's some advertising gimmick that somebody used last year and it worked well for them, but of course everything's changed and so now it's not going to work. No. All of that stuff is fly-by-night stuff, and there might be some good info in there, but really there is actually only one thing that you need to be a successful writer, and it's not very sexy, it's not very glamorous, and this is why it isn't talked about nearly enough. That one thing you need is persistence. That's right. Same as any other career, what you really need is persistence. Now, we talked about this a little bit in the last episode where I talked about if you write a page a day, by the end of the year, you'll have a book, and that's all about persistence. You cut out that time to work and do a page a day, and that's what you'll get at the end. Little bits of work add up. And this is true over every field. A lot of people have this myth about writing that you need to anguish over everything and take a long time to write everything and only come out with a couple of short stories a year or some nonsense like that. No. What you need to do is practice. It's the same as anything else. You want to learn a language, you practice speaking that language. You want to learn how to play a guitar, you practice playing the guitar, on and on and on. Every band you like has spent hours and hours and hours and hours playing in the garage and then playing in the studio and then doing gigs in little clubs and then doing big gigs in bigger clubs until they became headliners. Same with anything. It's just persistence. And look at Michael Phelps, for example. The most decorated Olympian of all time, championships swimmer, the best swimmer in the history of the sport. But think of this. At some time in the past, he had to learn how to swim. I mean, imagine being Michael Phelps' swimming instructor. It's like, oh, yeah, I remember that kid. Yeah, he didn't even know how to dog paddle the first day of class, and we had to fish him out of the wading pool. We thought he was going to drown. But he became world famous and the best swimmer ever because he spent time in the pool, a lot of time in the pool. And that's how you become a successful writer. You just keep at it and you keep working and working and working. Now, persistence has some different aspects to it. It's kind of an umbrella term for a lot of things. First off, write every day. You got to write every day. Just like Michael Phelps swam every day and Jimi Hendrix played the guitar every day, and a lot. Do as much as you can. I know you probably have a day job or you're on lockdown like me. I'm starting my 4th week of lockdown here. And you got your kids at home and you're stressed because of all the things going on. Yes, but if you carve out a certain amount of time every day and stick to it, it'll add up. Now, we were talking about earlier in the last episode about how 20 minutes a day will add up to a book at the end of the year. Now think about this for a second. Let's do the math here for a second. Now, 20 minutes a day. Say you do a page a day, and we did the exercise in the last episode, and when I've done this in class, most people do it in about 15 minutes or 20 minutes. Some people take a bit more, some people take a lot less. It just depends. Let's just go with 20 minutes. Okay, so you do 20 minutes a day. In a week, that's 2 hours and 20 minutes of writing. That's a decent chunk of writing. In a month, in 30 days, that's 10 hours of writing. Now you're really getting somewhere. And in a year, that's 120 hours of writing. That's 3 full work weeks of writing. There you go. That adds up. And just 20 minutes a day. You can carve out 20 minutes a day. Get up earlier if you have to. Go to bed later. Skip a Netflix series. Whatever you got to do. Write while you commute. I know people who actually write short stories and poetry on the Madrid metro. Well, they're not doing that now, but they do, and they're good. It's possible if you can tune out all your surroundings and do that. And that also takes practice. So persistence, writing every day, big help. But there's also persistence in learning your craft. Oh, so you got rejected in that short story. Maybe the editor was nice and actually told you something that you did wrong. Well, look it up. See how you could do it differently. And then send the short story out again. And keep sending it out. I've had short stories that were published after 10 rejections. There's an interesting story about J.K. Rowling when she was looking for Spanish translation rights here in Spain. None of the big publishers thought that Harry Potter would sell to Spanish children. They said, "Oh, this is too English. This is kids aren't really interested in fantasy, and it's not going to fly. It's not going to fly." And a small Spanish publisher took her up on it, took a chance, and they're not such a small publisher anymore. And so she was persistent. She said, "I want to break into the Spanish market. All these big publishers are saying no, it's not going to work." So she kept at it, and she got a deal. And every Spanish kid I know has read Harry Potter. So you keep at it. You deal with rejection. Rejection is just part of the business, and you keep at it. So we're going to do a writing exercise now, because you're going to write every time you come onto this YouTube channel. Because that's the only way you're going to be a writer. Okay, so write down on a piece of paper or on your laptop, 1 day equals 20 minutes. 1 week equals 2 hours and 20 minutes. 1 month equals 10 hours. Okay, now think about what you want to get done in your writing career in short bits. Think about what you can get done today in 20 minutes. Can you write a poem in 20 minutes? Could you write a page of your novel in 20 minutes? Could you write a pitch letter for a magazine article you've written? Whatever it happens to be, do that today in 20 minutes. Then write down what that plan is next to the 1 day. Now, for 1 week, what can you get done in 2 hours and 20 minutes? You get a lot more pages done. Maybe you can get a short story done. Maybe you can get a magazine article done. Whatever it happens to be, think about it and write that down next to 1 week. Now, you got 10 whole hours for that month. Now think about what you can write in 10 whole hours. That's 30 pages if you're doing 20 minutes a page. That's a lot of pages. That's a short story, or a couple of short stories actually. It's a whole pile of poems. Or it's a big chunk of a novel. It's a good long chapter in a novel. There you go. In a month, you can have a novel. You can have a chapter of your novel done. And that's all it takes, and you just keep at it. So I'm going to pause here, and you write down what you want to get done in the next day, in the next week, and the next month. And I'll see you back here in a minute. All right. So, interested in what you have come up with, feel free to share in the comments section. And that's what I want you to do. Today, do your 1 day item on your list. And during the week, 20 minutes a week or more if you can spare it, and do your 1 week item, and then your 1 month item, and then do the list again if you need to. The thing is, you keep at it. You'll find sooner or later you're not going to need that list. You'll just be working on your own. You'll be getting it all done on your own. Now, it's funny. I was talking to an old friend of mine, somebody I've never actually met, just somebody I've known on the internet for years and years and years, Cynthia Hope Clark. Now, you might have heard of her. She runs a newsletter called Funds for Writers. She's written a couple of books on how to write, including The Shy Writer, which came back way out in like 2004, 2005. That's when I first knew her, when I was just getting into being a pro. And she's got a very good mystery series set in the Carolinas. And it's interesting because I've known her since 2002, 2003, 2004, something like that. I can't even remember. But I was chatting with her the other day, and we were reminiscing, and I was like, yeah, it's cool to see you've come so far, and I've come so far, and everything. And then I realized that of all the people that I've known since then that were trying to be writers, virtually all of them are gone. They all dropped out, went to other fields, or they gave up. What's really frustrating is some of them were talented. Yes, I know extremely talented writers who got nowhere because they were lazy. That's kind of hard to say, but that's what it was, is they didn't put in the work. Or people who had a modicum of success and then crashed and didn't get back up and try again. People quit too early. Or people who just faded away. They didn't put enough effort into it. Hope did, I did, and a few other people did. And literally like 95 or 98% of the people that I've known since I've known Hope have disappeared. And of those people who survived, those people who kept at it, kept learning their craft, kept writing every day, kept sending their stuff out, where are they now? They're professional writers. Every single one of them. So that's all it takes, is persistence. Stick to your list, and when you're done with that, make another list, and don't forget, just keep on writing. And I'll see you here in a few days for the next episode. See you later. Keep on writing.